So everybody, we have been talking about Amber Heard, and today I want to talk to you guys about this whole believe all women phrase that people like to use. And I was always one of those people who was all up for that. I was like, that makes sense. However, now I feel that this phrase, this motto, this movement is exposing a darker agenda, a dark, sinister direction that society is taking. And I want to talk about that today. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comment section and like the video. Without further ado, I want to talk about it. Now, I know you guys know that I always like to talk about what's going on behind, because like I say, there's always a spiritual element, I believe, to what is happening. There's always a specific agenda that somebody is trying to push. And I know some people are going to say that sounds so extreme talking about Amber Heard, but just run with me here. Just run with me. Run with me. If I haven't convinced you by the end, that's okay as well. I feel like, right, I was thinking about it. It's becoming very normal that there's false accusing going on, right? Which, that is literally Satan himself. The word Satan, the Satan, means the accuser. But anyway, there's a lot of false accusing that's going on, and it's kind of lessening the blow of when people actually speak up about something that's happening to them. And on the surface, we might just look at that as like, oh, that's really annoying. That's a problem that doesn't help the other people who are actually going through something. But if you think about this on a deeper level, if things continue down this trajectory, right, very soon it's going to become even more and more normal for us to look at every situation like, oh, but that person could be lying. Oh, but that person could be lying. And it's like what I always say to you guys, that I always tell you guys that the power is with the people, because God gave us free will, and the people are the ones with the brains who then use their brains to make decisions with their free will, right? And thus, like I said with the Amber Heard case, all those people on the jury, ultimately, even though there was the judge there, and even though there was all this evidence and all these professionals, the jury's perception of what was going on, what was really making the decision there. And so I personally feel that with a lot of this stuff that's happening now and the way that we're going, it's becoming normalized. When you say believe all women, we instantly think, oh, that's good, because we want to believe people who have gone through stuff, and a lot of people have gone through stuff and haven't got justice. But there's also evil people who want to use the good to do bad, you know, and that's why even the Bible says the enemy comes disguised as an angel of light. That's why I think this is like believe all women, believe all women. However, the women that a lot of people are believing, it's like we have a lot of people, the people who are being believed are liars some of the time. And then sometimes the people who aren't liars are being criticized, and it's very, very weird. It's a very, very weird thing about society. And I'm just concerned, because the more we do this, and this is why I think they need to crack down, like, listen, vote me for president, and I will add a law that says any person who falsely accuses somebody else in a legal capacity, anybody else who falsely accuses somebody else of doing something has to do the time, the sentencing that person who did the false accusing would have had to do had that been true. Because that's what I feel like is going to actually stop these things. Because we can't just throw believe all women out the window. That doesn't make any sense, because we need to believe people. Especially when it comes to like children and stuff as well. If we're talking about believing people, there's a lot of children who go through stuff. A lot of people in their childhood went through things they should have never had to go through, tried to speak up about it, and nobody believed them, right? So I don't think we need to throw that out, but I think we need to crack down on what we do. And I'm wondering, I'm sitting here like, you know, when there's like certain injustices and people will instantly shift and change all these laws as a result of something that's happened. Like, and so I can't remember the specifics of it, but there was like a situation that happened in the UK, and it was to do with a young boy who had been like tortured basically by his own parents and then killed. And so as a result, just after that case, they actually put in a new law to stop that type of stuff from happening, right? So again, interesting to me that we're not doing stuff like that, but that's the types of things that we need to be doing. And this is why I feel like we're really going in a dark, sinister direction, because what's happening is slowly but surely we are being programmed to second guess somebody now when they come forward with something. And that's what slowly but surely is what's happening. Now, if you're somebody who is falsely accusing somebody, that doesn't matter, because all they need is for you to have a little bit of doubt in there, a seed of doubt. That's all they need, a seed of doubt, so that even if that seed of doubt is there, and they're still complaining about it, they're still going to get the benefits that they're looking for. Because think about it, if this is Amber and she's creating her fake reality, right? Because she's a narcissist, in my opinion. she doesn't matter if everybody doesn't believe her. It doesn't matter if there's a seed of doubt. The fact is, enough people think that this could be true, this could be real, and as long as she's got that, her fake reality is in existence, right? But then, however, the people who do actually go through stuff, whether it's domestic violence or assault or anything else, right, those people are the ones who are going to be worse off, because now a lot of those people are going to have to go through even more rigorous processes to get justice, which is unfair to have to go through as a victim of something. It's unfair they had to go through it in the first place, and now they're having to go through everything that happened through with a fine-tooth comb or whatever, right, to get some justice. And you see this now when it comes to people who have been, you know, R-worded, as people say on YouTube, where like they've been R-worded, right, and they'll come out about it, but then because at the time they didn't go and get the R-word kit from the police department, they've got no evidence, nobody saw where they went, nobody saw what blah blah blah. And also and this is why people had to talk so much about consent now and specifying what consent even actually means, because so many people were struggling to get, you know, justice because people were nitpicking at like what consent actually is. Like, it's all very dark if you think about it, and I just feel like we're moving in the direction where, like, the more these things happen, the more the Amber Heards are out there, and she's got so. And the thing that made me think this was the number of people who were ignoring the facts, because like I said to you guys, I looked back at before this whole thing blew up. I remember probably just at the beginning of this stuff really kicking off, I remember looking into the situation, and I'm one of those people where I'm very good at separating my feelings from the facts. I'm like, I look at the facts, I'm like, okay, this is what the facts were. She had clearly lied on his name to try and get something to happen negatively against him. Those were the facts, right? Now, whatever else whatever else happened, it doesn't take away from that. And I know even people have tried to say under my videos, by the way, sorry that the lighting keeps changing, it's just the sun moving, the clouds moving over the sun. But anyway, so people have even been saying to me like, oh, well, I've lost my thought track now. What was I saying? What was I saying? Give me a moment. I forgot what I was saying. But anyways, I'll continue on at another part of what I wanted to say. Sorry guys. But yes, so that's why I'm just at this point, I'm a little bit like, I feel like because I always say this to people, right? That when you see shifts in society, shifts don't happen overnight, like majority of the time. Shifts happen over time. And this is actually how the enemy works. This is how the devil works. People I think that he just shows up and this big, ugly, crazy, scary looking character who just does things and is just, you know, dangling and is just killing children in front of your face. That's not how it works. It's all these little changes that happen over time, and then like 10 years later you find yourself in a certain place and you wonder, how did we get here? Think about how many things in society today that you might ask yourself, how did we get here? It's like you can almost barely even tell, but when you look back at it, you'll notice, oh well, we kind of went over this boundary a little bit and then we went past this, or oh, we had this little development which led to this little development which led to this little development. And that's how these things work. And I think we need to really understand how important it is how we perceive things. That's why I always say to you guys that you got to research for yourself. You got to be somebody who looks into things for yourself. Somebody even said under the one of my previous videos, they were like, how come there are like no clips of Johnny's what is it when he, I forgot the word for it, basically I think when he was being questioned or whatever. And I was like, it doesn't matter whether there's clips of that or not, because anybody who wants to comment on the situation should go and watch the full thing for themselves anyway. This is the type of society we're supposed to be in. We're supposed to be people that think for ourselves, because what we think affects what we do, and our actions have consequences. All the people who believed lies, right, the lies that they believed in it's going to negatively affect them. That's why we have the responsibility to look into things for ourselves. And there's no excuse in the society we live in today. In the society we live in today, there's so much information. I talk about this, guys, in my media playlist. I talk about this thing called stage democracy. And basically, that's what a lot of us are living in. It's stage democracy, where we think we get to make decisions, because we get to make decisions. But guess what? The reason why it's staged is because certain information is purposely thrown in our direction to affect the decision that we make. And I gave the example of And I always use this example that of what they did with in the UK with Brexit, right? Because Cambridge Analytica, which now even Mark Zuckerberg is getting in potentially more trouble for all of this scandal at the moment. But Cambridge Analytica basically was a company that was manipulating what was being seen online. So like this different types of ads, the propaganda, in order to try and sway the vote in the United Kingdom 1% in favor of Brexit. And as I always say, it is nuts to me that the results of Brexit were literally 51% to 49% in favor of Brexit. 51%, 1%. And all they did was they controlled what people were thinking. This is why I'm saying this stuff is important, and why I'm saying it's very sinister and it's dark, but it's not something that you would think about unless I don't know, unless you're me, I guess. And I love the Lord. But and so the Lord puts things in front of my face. But anyway, it's one of those things where if you think about it like that, that's what I mean. That's stage democracy, because people went in thinking, it's like there was this thing even with the whole Brexit thing. I remember this bus, everybody was upset about this bus. There was this bus that was going around, and it said something like, if we vote in favor of Brexit, like 300 million is going to the NHS, which is like the free healthcare that everybody talks about that's available in the UK. And that's what swayed a lot of people's votes. People are like, oh yeah, we're gonna vote Brexit because of this. All of these little things was controlling people thought, which controlled what they did. And then what they did, a lot of people, they felt like it backfired on them. And that's what I mean about all of the stages of that. What you believe, then what you do, you will live out the consequences of it. I'm not trying to say that to be harsh. I'm not trying to, that's just what it is. And that's why it's important. And that's why even with all this stuff, right, with how people out there and this and that, we got to be careful. And that's where I think we're going further and further down the road of, it's like the same thing with BLM. You guys know I've done videos about BLM, and I, in the beginning of BLM, was like, well, okay, Black Lives Matter. Do I agree with that phrase? I agree with that specific phrase, that Black Lives Matter, right? So I was all there supporting about, and then I actually started to look into it, and I started to look into the facts, and I started to see some very sinister facts about the actual, and again, looking at the facts, looking at the actual, you know, information. And I started to realize, and one of the first things that stuck out to me about it was, I don't see any clear goals of specifically what they are going to want to achieve for Black people. And I even went to one of the protests. I went to one of the protests in London myself, and I went there and I was like, everybody's just out here just screaming. I don't think anybody's got any plans here. And I could see from a lot of information I was finding out about, like the founders talking to dead people and stuff, talking to the dead George Floyd and dead Breonna Taylor and all this. I was like, I don't believe this. This is a scam. The more I was looking into it, I was like, this is a scam. Lo and behold, this is where we are now. Everybody's seeing that. And guess what? If people had taken the time to look into the stuff for themselves, they would know that. And that's why society is becoming more and more a place where people don't want you to think for yourself, especially the dark, the evil in this world does not want you to think for yourself, because they want to control what you think, so they control what you do. That's how it works. That's what Cambridge Analytica was doing, putting stuff out there so that that's what you think, and then that's what you do. I just said that same thing like twice, and that's why I make my videos as well, because I'm like, listen, I'm gonna let people know there's other stuff, there's other information, right? And I'm not perfect, as I always say to you guys, I'm not perfect. I don't get everything right. Sometimes a lot of my thoughts, are still developing as we go. But I'm sharing with you guys along my journey, and you're on your journey as well, so that we can all learn and grow. And I think at the very least, if we're trying to think for ourselves, we can go against this, because you might be somebody in a jury one day, right, for ages from now, and you might find yourself with the next person who tries to come out like an Amber Heard, right? And because of all the stuff you saw on the internet, because of everything that you heard, because this is how people can sway people as well. Because think about this, when I don't know if they do this, and I would love to know, when they're like selecting jurors, do they ask them like, are you on social media? Because think about it, all it would take, imagine this is the society we live in. This just hit me right now. This is the society we live in. If you're working with, if you have a jury and a case, right, and you want to sway the jury, think about how easy it actually would be to potentially put things into that jury's mind, because you can buy ads. People can buy ads, right? We can all buy advertising on most platforms nowadays. So you can make your own ad of something, right, that's going to sway them in a particular direction. Something like Me Too movement, believe all women. Let's use this situation as an example. Somebody could decide to put all of this Me Too movement, we're behind Amber Heard, justice for Amber Heard, blah, blah, blah. They could pay for those ads. If they know those jurors, right, and they know that maybe they're local to whatever, they could target those specific target groups of people, in the sense of, like, let's say there's a 45-year-old woman on the jury, you could target all 45-year-old women there, for example, and you wouldn't even have to go that deep. You could really just do other things. You go around and just put posters up, you know, outside yourself as the legal team to try and sway people's mind. And I say this stuff, I know a lot of you are going to think that sounds a bit extreme, and it is extreme, but also what I'm realizing is one thing that works against us in society is that so many of us underestimate how dedicated evil people are to being evil. They are not holding back, because that's how they become successful. That's how they get into power, because they need you to use your free will that God gave you to do what they want you to do. Otherwise, they're not going to be where they're at, right? So I just want to say, that's why I feel like I'm a little bit like, even the way there's all this censorship. Isn't it interesting how there's all this censoring, but they choose to censor some things and not others? I talk about this all the time, like on YouTube. I had one of my first YouTube videos that apparently violated community guidelines. I was like, woo, I made it. And it was like very truthful video. There's scientific evidence to back up everything I said in this video, so I could literally send you guys, any of you guys, the literal scientific evidence. So I'm not going to talk about the video because it got taken down anyway. But I see other people like the Shane Dawsons of the world, who've been talking about literally doing disgusting things, not just with animals, but with children and everything, right? And he's just going off scot-free, making his videos, doing what he's doing. He's doing what he's doing. He was doing blackface. Nobody was shutting him down. Who's shutting him down when he was doing blackface? Do you see what I mean? And that's why I'm saying there's clearly some selectivism that goes on there. And that's why even all of this, we've got to start the ministry of truth. Like, it's very sinister. It's very, very sinister, and it's very dark, and it's very evil. It's very interesting, the types of things that are out there. And the reason for that is because they want to normalize certain things, make certain things be okay, right? Whilst getting us to ignore, whilst hiding away the things that would actually help us as an individual. Because remember, guys, we're not worth what, like, it's like, I'll give you guys one last example, because I'm really going around the houses with this. I'll give you guys another example, right? Most people won't start a business because they think it's really difficult to start a business, and it's really not. In fact, my first business that I ever started, I started it by accident, because I just Googled how to start a business, and I just read a few things, and I was like, well, I'm going to see if I can register a company, and I registered a company, and boom, bang, I was there. And then I just learned the rest as I was going along. And it was literally just like that. It was literally just like that, right? And obviously that wasn't simple. That doesn't show how to run a whole business, but you learn as you go, right? You learn as you go. And people always say, yeah, they should teach about businesses in school. Why would they teach business in school? They want you to be their employee. So why are they going to teach you something that's going to benefit you so that you can do what they do? They don't want that. That's why, like, as I talk about in the media playlist, that's why, like, all the top five media companies in the world, there's 5 media companies in the world that own, like, basically everything. Like, everything. Each of them basically own, like, one of everything. And it's insane. It's honestly insane. And so when people say, oh, why don't they're going to teach about business in schools? They're not going to teach you about business in school, because that's not what they're interested in. In the same way, like I always say about the education system, how come in the education system, right, we want to add all these other weird classes? And I did a video about this, right, about the types of weird classes that they're adding into schools these days, right? All these different, I'm not even going to start to name names, because I don't want to get too overly political about it, right? But I'm like, how about just focus on the fact that a lot of people struggle just to do English and maths? How about focus on that? How about help the people who can't even get a C in maths get a C in maths? How about offer extra classes for that? But no, instead you want to start a new class where you talk about like activism or something. Why? They want to control what you think and what you do, because now we've got kids out there who feel so responsible for everything that's going on in the world. They want to support black people, brown people, white people. They want to support poor people. They need to protect the planet. They need to go vegan. They need to do this. Why are they doing this? And guess who the people who benefit from that? The people in control, because they're the ones who are creating all these. They're the ones who want us to focus on climate change. So then we listen to them when they say, oh, this is what we're going to do about climate change. Listen to us, like what Bill Gates is doing. Those are the ones who will then convince everybody to go vegan, and they'll be like, oh, by the way, we're selling vegan products. Everybody's selling. Do you guys see where I'm coming from here? Do you see where I'm coming from? So anyway, I say all of this just to highlight to you why I think this is all a part of it. You know, it's got so dark now because the sun's just covered the thingy-mabobby. But anyway, This is why I'm saying this stuff to you guys, because it might sound far-fetched in the beginning, especially just to talk about from an Amber Heard case, but I think it's like this is just one part of a lot of things that are happening in the world right now that is changing the way that we think, you know, changing the way that we think, and the way that we think changes what we do, and what we do has consequences, and that's why it's really important. Anyways, guys, I feel like I've hammered this one in long enough. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video and my other videos. Check out my other videos. I got loads and loads of videos, y'all. I post so much on this channel. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe. Did I say that already? If I didn't, then that's probably because some of y'all didn't subscribe yet, but if I did, then anyway. And don't forget to like the video as well. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless every single one of you, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.